Hey YouTube, I thought I'd do a short video on replacing GM bay door rubber. So I've already removed this door by slicing the rubber with a utility knife. Before removing a GM door, if you have gas struts that are holding the door up, you're going to want to remove those. Also, very important, if you are working on a GM bus like a 4107 or later models that have torsion bars, these instructions do not necessarily apply to you. Those torsion bars can be very dangerous, and you need to consult the manual on how to relieve the tension off those torsion bars before performing a door rubber cut, before cutting the door rubber like that. Anyways, I've sliced it. Now, inside each door panel, you're going to find some screws like this that hold the rubber in place. There'll be some inside the bay as well, usually. Fill one there, perhaps. And then there's a slot in the middle that you can use to remove the rubber. But first of all, I've got to locate those screws and take them out. So I'll do that now. So I'm doing a small door, so it's easy. The screws are fairly crustified in here. Should have grabbed my power screwdriver. Small door like this is easy to do with one person. If you're doing a big door, you'll want two people to help with that job. So the rubber will just slide out the end now on this door. Just got to get a hold of it. Stuck in there. Usually it just comes right out. Okay, let me get something to get a hold of that with. So there's one half of the rubber. Now this little bay door doesn't appear to have any screws holding it in, but your bigger bay doors will have screws up in the track underneath here that you have to undo. Now let's see if I can get a hold of this rubber and get it out of here. I'm going to pull it out the center slot in the track here. And once you get it going, you just pull it right out. Can you see that slot right there? Let me move the camera. So there's a break in the slot right there. And that's where you feed the new rubber in each direction. Put it on the bus side first, and then you slide the door on. So now it's helpful if you've got a round brush or something like this to go and run it down inside that track. Clean the crud out of the slot. It might be in there. See how that crud came out of there? Because that crud will inhibit you being able to slide the new door rubber on. Yeah, there's a lot of crud in there. Now if you've got nice paint, you're going to want to be careful not to scratch your paint up. There's probably going to be less in this one because it's the other way, but maybe not. No, there's quite a bit of crud in there too. Okay, so there's this notch here, and you just got to work the rubber in. Once you get it going, it goes pretty easy, but you got to get it started. There we go. And do the other half. Usually this part doesn't require any lubrication, but if you're having trouble, probably means your tracks are still dirty. But I use a little soap and water. I take a squirt bottle with some Dawn in it, squirt it on there. And there we go, that's in. So now if you had screws in here, you would go ahead and attach the screws underneath to hold the rubber so it doesn't move when you're sliding the door on. Okay, so I got a little squirt bottle with a little bit of Dawn in it here. I'm just gonna go ahead and squirt that down a little bit. Remember, Dawn removes wax, so keep that in mind. Don't want to get it all over your door panels if you spend a bunch of time waxing your bus, like I have. So I'm just going to put it in the track itself. If you got a big door, this part is a two-person job. Basically, you got to get it started on there. Once you got it on there, just careful not to scratch your paint. Choose the direction wisely. I'm going this way because I got a fender thing over there. Now I'm going to kind of just pull out on a little bit here while I slide that on, just to kind of stretch the rubber. Yeah, it's giving me some trouble. Maybe I didn't have enough Dawn in that mix. Crap. I'll try pulling. Yeah, there we go. Pulling rather than pushing. There, boom, it's on. So yeah, big door, two-person job. Person on the other end can kind of tug out in that way, you know, and that'll help that. So now at this point, you can go ahead and, well, you got to make sure you've got your gap good. So the rubber slid a little bit on me here. You know, there's a gap over there now because I was pushing on it. So I'm going to kind of try and work that back a little bit if I can. And I can't, so I'm not going to worry about it. So now this door didn't have any gas struts on it or torsion bars or any of that nonsense. But if you had something like that, you know, of course you need to reattach that. I would go ahead and put the screws in it first. So my door's got, you know, 2 little screws that go up in here. There's one there and one right there. So we go ahead and put those guys in. Little self-tappers. And they bite into that rubber and keep it from moving. Just feeling for the hole because I don't feel like sticking my head in there and seeing. But if you got a bay open, you're probably gonna have to crawl in there at this point and look. There's that one. Just go ahead and run them on down in there. There we go. A really common problem some of you may have encountered on these GM buses, particularly if you're using a gas strut or something that didn't come stock on the door, is ripping and tearing of the door rubber. So I've fought that battle, and I have numerous successes and failures probably worthwhile to tell you about. So here's one. This is a piano hinge that I bent and formed and stuck into the end of the door where the gas strut is, and I don't like this. I consider this a fail. Let me show you some more. So here's a pile of numerous attempts. Now these are commercially available hinges that you can get for these buses. But the problem with these is that they're much wider than the factory rubber strip. So it's nearly impossible to install these and have the door rubber in at the same time. So I was unable to use these. Okay, so these are some aluminum hinges that I ordered and attempted to bend to fit in the track. And it's quite difficult to do that. Here are a bunch of different sort of piano hinge things that I tried to make. This is an early attempt at trying to weld a piece of square stock on there. Here's another more successful attempt at doing that, but still difficult welding. So then I decided to switch to the 3D printer. Here's an attempt at printing some hinge. Different things. So this was eventually successful, and I'll show you what we have, but I have a 3D printer and I'm able to print, this is a failed print here, but I'm able to print these on my printer. They come off the printer like this, and this material is TPU. So TPU is a flexible plastic. So these are fails here because they were too thick in the center section. But ultimately I was able to come up with a design that fit well in the track and was flexible enough to be able to bend in the middle. This one is almost there. so it bends. So I went and installed them on the bus, and I'll show those to you now. So right here is one of those TPU hinges installed. Then there's the regular rubber. And then I put another TPU hinge on the other end of the door. The reason I put them on the ends is because that's where it always starts ripping. And so this has worked well so far. However, this door does not have a gas strut on it. So I'm holding out publishing these until I verify that this hinge material will live in a problem spot where I have a gas strut. So, you know, this one's ripping. This one has got this thing in it. This has been a problem spot. Crusty hinge I don't like. This one is ripping. So this one will probably be the next one to get my TPU hinge treatment to, because I use this door a lot. This is my utility door. I'm in and out of it all the time. So I got to get around to printing a couple more of those and try it out, install it on each end of the door here. But I do got to say, you know, this one is holding up well and fits in that track nicely. So I think that's all I got about GM bus bay door hinge. Remember, if you've got torsion bars on a 4107 or later bus, be careful. Those things will take your arm off. I used to have a 4107. We did some stuff to basically detach those. Definitely a two-person job. It's dangerous. So, you know, I haven't covered that. There is a tool that you can make to help with that, but definitely be careful if you got those torsion bars involved in your bay door. The good side is if you have them, you're not stuck with this gas strut situation that the rest of us and have the 4104s and 4106s are stuck with, where we've got hinges ripping because of uneven or incorrect pressure on the doors. So yeah, so I hope you like the content. Please consider subscribing, and we'll have more GM bus tips coming your way when we can. Thanks.